Welcome to the most important week of the year for the podcast industry. Welcome to Podcast Movement 2025.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you guys so much for sticking around at the conference. I know we are at the very end, and I really appreciate you guys for being here. My name is Kiara Walker. I have been hosting a podcast called CockTales Dirty Discussions. It is a podcast that's a comedy show, and we just laugh and make fun of our crazy, wild dating, sex, and relationship experiences. And after some time, our listeners were really adamant about having a live show. They wanted to meet us, they wanted to be with us, and I have been fortunate enough to be able to tour the country. We even did a show in Canada, so I feel like I'm very international, even though it's right up the road. But we have done so many live shows, and when I meet other podcasters, they often ask me, how do you do it? So I decided this is the thing that I want to help people do, is figure out how to have a successful live show, how to profit off of the live show, and how to have your listeners come out in real life, interact with you, and have a good time. So the biggest thing is you have got to plan. This is not something where you want to wing it. There's lots of different types of venues, different types of live events that you can do. And what I would advise you to do first is to really think about, what is your show about? What is your audience like? What do they love about your show? And how are you going to do it? You've really got to pay attention to your audience. I know for us, they can get a little chatty. And because we drink on the show and we encourage them to drink at our events, we need them in a seat. We need them in a theater. We need them somewhere where they will be less likely to be disruptive, because it gets to be a lot, you know? And we also don't really like to see them, because now when it is a live show, we're no longer in the comfort of the studio when we're telling these embarrassing stories. They are in our face looking at us like, make me laugh, entertain me, I want to hear more. And it can just be a lot. So we love doing our live shows in theater venues, concert halls. We've done a lot of city wineries. If you've ever been to a city winery, anywhere where a musician might perform might be good for us, but you should, consider your audience and what they like. And we also make sure that it can hold a lot of people. We have a relatively large audience, and we like venues that are going to be around anywhere from 300 to 500 seats. That's a good number for us. That's the number that we feel comfortable with, where we're not overwhelmed by the audience, and we can turn a profit without having to sell the tickets too high, and just have crowd control. That's really important. So when you are looking for your venues as you're planning your live event, you need to take that into consideration. Another thing I would suggest is looking at what is going to be included. I have done live shows two different ways. When I started, I would rent venues, and I would just go directly to the venue. We pay a fee, and typically that doesn't really include much. So then I'm calling on friends. I am calling in favors. I'm calling family, and don't be too proud to do that, especially when you are starting out, because you're going to need help. This is not something that you should ever try to do alone. You also want to consider the elements that you'll have in your show. We love to do videos. Sometimes we wish that we were movie stars and TV stars. So we take that as an opportunity to create different things. We do a funny little thing called a cockumentary, which is like a documentary but mockumentary style. And we use that to tell the story and the theme of the show. Now, before I get too much into what is happening in the show, let's talk about how we're going to market the show and make sure that people are coming. The majority of your audience will likely be people who are already listening to your show in whatever city you choose to do the live show in. But we like to do a theme. We like to make it fun so that all of our marketing material is going to kind of tell that story. So one of these tours, which is the flyer that we have here, was our last call tour. A lot of times we like to play around with the drinking element because it is cocktails. And so we did 6 shows at the end of, I think this was 2023. We did a lot of bar-themed drinks, bar-themed flyers, bar-themed post, bar-themed at the actual event. We got a set designed, all of that. You'll also want to consider building the hype. We would put our tickets on sale early, sometimes at a discount depending on how things worked with the venue, but we would put our tickets on sale first to our Patreon community. That is our most loyal fan base. They're already spending extra money every month to get the additional content, and kind of as a thank you, you're going to get advanced ticket sales. You might even be able to get a discount if we can work that out with the venue, and that's really important. We also like to work with other podcasts. We have done a few shows in Dallas too, and we invited other podcasts to kind of open up for us. So before we came out, we had the Pretty Party podcast open up for us in Dallas one year, and we were in Deep Ellum. And that really helped because then we could also get their audience, and they were local to Dallas. So sometimes you might want to reach out to other shows, other entertainers that are going to help you to promote the event, because when you're listening to a podcast, you know it's free. And now we've got to get people out of their homes. They've got to get dressed. It's a lot, and it's very hot here. So wherever you are, it's going to take some work to get the people out of there. You have to really sell this event. Once you do the first one, make sure that you have pictures and things you can sell. You can use those pictures, those videos, that experience. If you have someone at your event asking the audience how they felt about it, save that stuff. Don't just repost it that day, that weekend, that week, or whatever. Save it. And then the next time you do a live show, no matter the city, you can kind of use that to really sell your thing, sell your show, sell your live event, sell the live podcast, however you choose to put on that show. And you're going to meet new people all the time. Make sure you're saying it when you're meeting people in person. Remind everyone when you're doing the show. Work with other entertainers, other podcasters to make sure that you are filling that room up. And then you will sell those tickets. And it's going to be a really good feeling. When we did our first show, honestly, we undersold it. The ticket prices were way too low. They were gone in 2 weeks. But it was a really good feeling because we were nervous. And we sold out a show of 300 people in Atlanta in 2 weeks. And we ended up adding a second day. That's also something that you should consider when you're looking at the venue. Do you think that you will sell it out? If you sell it out, are the people out of luck? Is there a way for you to do another one? Consider all of those things. These are some of the flyers that we've done. Speaking of, the marketing material, we wanted them to look really good. We wanted people to know from the look of the flyer, it is looking good. You can see in the one that's on the bottom left-hand corner, we did the show at City Winery. We did 2 nights. We had a comedian who was our host, and he opened up, kind of warm up the crowd before we came out. And then also, I just hate at a live event when people are sitting around with nothing to do. People start getting bored. They get antsy. It's just not a good feeling. And I know when I show up somewhere, if I've spent money and I expect to be entertained, I better be entertained the moment I step in the door. So we also had a DJ. And the DJ also helped to keep the vibes going. So even if there was ever an issue or if we were running a little behind, somebody is there to help keep things moving. We don't want to have dead air when we're having the podcast, or too many pauses, too many likes, other little things like that. You want to make sure that you're filling those slow moments, the in-between moments. If you have any transitions, you want to fill it up with something. And in the middle, you can see a picture of our set. So we did a Valentine's Day theme. It was Valentine's Day weekend. We were at a City Winery location. We love those. We have done several shows, as you can see on the bottom right side, that we did a lot of City Wineries. That's a really good venue, and they oftentimes will work out deals. So if the stress of how much to sell the tickets, how does this work? We've also worked with a booking agent. Once you have your proof of concept and you have done your live shows, you might be able to work with an agent who can negotiate a better deal. So instead of having to worry about the stress, will we turn a profit or not? Will we have the staff? Will we have the manpower to handle everything? It was just no longer an issue because City Winery staff was there. We agreed upon a rate. They handled all of the ticket sales. We didn't have to worry about anything but putting the show together. We've also done like a Western theme, and that was another fun thing we did. So these are just some flyers from that, and then another last call tour flyer from that show. Now that one was in New York, and as you can see at the bottom, it's not super big, but you kind of see those logos at the bottom. That's another way to make money. So I've said ticket sales, ticket sales, ticket sales. You should also consider getting sponsors. Just like there's sponsors here at this event, you want to reach out to different companies all sorts of companies. Think about products you use, services that you use, things that are local, things that might be attractive to your audience. Reach out to those companies, put packages together, and you sell those sponsorships. That will help to offset your costs. That'll help you get money in the account ahead of the show to handle things like, I don't know, your flights, hotels. If you are going to hire additional talent to be a part of your show, that might come with a fee. You want to be able to pay for it. You want to have a nice set. You might not want to just sit in a seat on a stage with plain background. You can do all of those things once you get the sponsorships. A thing that we have done that has worked really well for us is when we are putting out sponsorship packages, we do them in tiers, and we will sell the marketing space on our flyers that we're already going to be using. We're already going to be posting. We'll put your logo in there. We'll tag you in there. We will do social media posts. We will promote the show or promote their product in our show. We'll promote their service in our show. The amount of promotion that we do depends on the tier. And then you can also, depending on the setup, you may want to invite them to be at the show. It's nice to offer tickets to them so that they can be there, especially your top tier sponsors. But they might want to, if they have a product, they might want to hand out samples. They might want to be in front of people's faces so that they can really explain what they have. If you have a venue that has space for that, that's another great opportunity to make some additional money for your live show. And then you've got to think about, okay, we've sold the show. We have all of the sponsors. We don't have space for another sponsor because our ad load is too heavy. We're in a great place. We've already made a profit, but what are we going to do on the stage? If your show has certain elements, like maybe you have segments, we have several segments. We have a cocktail that we do at the beginning of the show. We don't really do that in our live show, but what we do is we communicate with the venue, and at the bar, we will have signature cocktails. That's just a nice little touch and something that you can add, and you can also sell that with sponsorships too. Maybe you incorporate a business's name into your cocktail. You also want to make sure that the flow of your show when it is live, if you're trying to keep it like your regular podcast, really consider, does this part work in a live show, or do we need to switch it? We allow our audience to send us emails, and we have an advice segment. They send us emails, but we don't want to read an email. So what we do is we tell the audience, you can ask us the question right here. It's really fun, and it's a lot more entertaining, honestly, than the emails. And it's interesting to see everybody's reaction. But that's an element from the show that we bring in. We do skip a few segments that don't really work, but any chance that we get where we can have our audience interact with us so that they feel like they're a part of the show has been a big win for us. So you should consider the segments that you have in your show and see how you might be able to include that too. Now, with us taking out some of the segments in the show, we have a weird sex segment. I tell a news story. We have another segment where we have a character who is really indecisive and she's giving date suggestions. That's not really fun at the live show. So what we do instead is we start playing games. We want to get the people out of their seat. We want to get them moving. We want them to feel like they're a part of it. We want them to interact with us. It is fun, and we want people to have fun because, again, our show is a comedy show. So that's really the main thing. We want to make sure that people are up, having a good time, laughing, and it's a good experience for them because we've already pulled them out of their house and we want them to come to more shows. We want them to travel to see us. So we will play games. And another option for our sponsors is we give away prizes. So they can give us products. We give them to whoever wins the game. Or, however it's going to work. If they win the game, if they participate in the game, we give out prizes. And you also want to make sure that you take control of your audience. Sometimes, especially, I have to say it a lot, when people are drinking, they just get carried away. I have been there. I don't know if y'all have. You don't have to answer. But you want to be able to have control of your audience. So have those breaks. Think about the energy or how worked up people might get. Give the pauses, give it some time, and really work out that flow because you do have people who are right here in front of your face. There is no editing. It's live. You're on. You've got to make it happen. Went too far. So another thing is going back to the staff and what is offered. Hopefully, wherever you choose to do your live show, they will have someone included in the fee. But if not, You can hire people. There's lots of different apps, websites where if you need somebody day of, you can get them. But it would be best when you're shopping around to see and make sure that the venue is going to offer you something. And also think about, what are those people doing? We want help. You're asking your friends, you're asking your family, you're thinking about hiring people, but what are the elements that you need? You might need somebody just to be a runner, bringing things around. We like to have someone in the audience to walk the mic around, because if we have to leave the stage and go out there, it's kind of like dull moments. It's boring. We want to have somebody taking pictures. We want to have somebody doing video, all of these little things. So just consider what elements you might want, and maybe have like one extra person who's a floater that can just run around and help. That way you're not stressed, because once the show happens, you want to be able to be on and thinking about who's in front of you and making sure that they're having a good time, and you don't want them to see the stress on your face, because again, you want them to have a good time, come back, and continue to enjoy. And then also, any technical elements. This is something that I think a lot of people forget about, or they might think that everybody has something. Once you are in those planning stages, think about what you have, what you want. I mentioned before that we like to make a little video called the Cockumentary, and we do something different every time we tour. We have to communicate with the venue, just like here, and figure out, okay, what do we need to provide to you? Do we need to send it in person? I always like to have it in a few different places, and I just try my best not to rely on Wi-Fi, because you don't want to be buffering and having that spinning circle of death while you're waiting for something to come up. I can be, some people might say it's a pessimist, but I always think of what could go wrong. What is the worst thing that could happen? And you plan for it, because the week of, the day of, you don't want to be stressed with that. Do you have to have this element? What if it doesn't play? What if something happens? What can you do instead? Think of your backup plans and really like run through your show. If you host the show alone, if you host it with somebody else, if you're going to have additional talent, if you're going to invite other shows, make sure that you're communicating with them. You want to have a structure. Even if you veer away from it, it's okay, but you have got to make sure that you have a plan. Okay. Now, again, so we've got ticket sales so that you can make the money, because as fun as it is to be in front of your audience, I know that a lot of us are trying to figure out, how are we making money? Getting advertisers is one thing, and that's one way that we're bringing in the money, but you want to find other ways. We cannot just rely on the advertisers, and advertisers might take a long time to pay. So we've got our ticket sales. Then you might do some sort of collaboration to offset costs, so then in the end you are making money. Sponsorships. Think about those sponsorships. What can your show actually offer? What can you deliver? What is the value in all of that? And then lastly, merchandise. So we have done t-shirts. Everybody loves a t-shirt. We've also done mugs, shot glasses. Another fun thing that we have done is we created a card game. So we have a card game that y'all can also buy right now. It's called I'm Curious to Know. It is a discussion card game. Ton of questions that you can ask anyone. We say it's good for dating, and it is. That's kind of our thing. But you could have it amongst friends, girls' night, whatever, and you get to know people. But that's another thing that we have that we bring to our live shows, and people can purchase it in person. Get creative with the type of merch you offer. You don't just want to do t-shirts. You don't just want to have like those typical things. Have something else that keeps on going, and then you can sell it after the show is over. We've also put our tour t-shirts, are just, the t-shirts, the hats, the tote bags, all of that. It's available for sale all of the time, but when you're at the show, you can pick it up right then and get it. And then we'll also do some giveaways sometimes, just depending on the games and the sponsorships that we have. Now, that's pretty much it that I have. I wanted to make sure that I had at least 10 minutes to answer any questions that you have, or in case I forgot something. So, yes, ma'am. Let's see. Oh, she's gotcha.
This was great. I want to come to one of your shows.
Oh yes, we're not touring right now, but hopefully next year we will. So look out for it.
Can we break down a little bit your ticket prices, how they range, and versus if somebody gets a free drink, they get a piece of merch? Like, how do you structure the ticket idea?
Okay, so the very first show that we did, I mentioned before that I kind of feel like we undersold it. We were selling those tickets at $25. That was too low. considering the cost of everything. So I would say with your structure, think about your audience. You might have to poll them. You might want to look at other shows that are similar to see what they're selling at, and also check with the venue. When we have done comedy clubs will tell us what the ticket prices are. They're typically like $25 to $35 because the comedy club requires anybody there to at least buy 2 drinks, or they've got to buy food or something like that. So if you're at a venue and it is a requirement for anyone attending to purchase something, you want to bring those ticket prices down, because you also don't want to just like take everybody's money. You want to make a profit, but you don't want to take advantage, and nobody, likes feeling like that. You also want to consider the elements that you have in your show. To charge $100 for a podcast live show and you're literally sitting on the stage and just talking, I don't know. I wouldn't pay for it. Ask yourself, would you pay for it? One thing that we do at every single live show that can be an upcharge, so we can still keep the ticket prices low but possibly make a little bit more, we do an add-on of a meet and greet. So that requires us to either be there super early, which usually doesn't work out. I'm a little tardy a lot of times. We do it at the end of the show. And so we stay after and we take pictures and we mix and mingle. We have someone there to help us to move the line along so it's not taking too long. And you're going to have to limit that because everybody can't get it. But limiting things and putting that push out there kind of helps to sell it too. So consider the venue, what you're actually offering, and also how much it costs for you to rent out that venue, and you need to run your numbers. What is it going to cost you? What do you need to make? What is like the bare minimum? And maybe go a little bit up from that. Oh.
Hi, Kiara. How are you? Great presentation.
I'm sorry to squint, and y'all, this light is just so bright.
Hey, girl. It's fine. No worries. So we have a marriage and healthy relationship podcast, and so.
Okay. What's it called?
It's called Chats from the Peak. Y'all go follow. Go ahead.
It's called what?
Chats from the Peak.
Chats from the
mountains,
Peak.
peaks.
Uh-huh.
The highs and the lows, the valleys. Y'all get it?
That's
Okay.
a good name. I like
Thank
it.
you. Appreciate it. So my question is, so I know that you have like a really large following, and I'm curious to know, actually I have like 5 questions, but
I'm curious to know. That's the name of our game.
hey now. So I'm curious, when did you think was the right time for you guys to pull the plug to have a live show?
That is a great question. I'm glad you asked that because I forgot to mention it earlier. Something that I learned, because my background is working in radio and we have a lot of events. I was told that you can expect about 10% of your audience to show up to an event. So we were thinking about our numbers. First, we had to look at, okay, we live in Atlanta. We're going to do our first live show in Atlanta. This is also the city that has our highest, numbers. Of the people who are listening on a regular basis, what is that number? And then take 10% of that. So we wanted that number to get to a point where I felt like at least 200 people would probably show up. And then we waited until the audience was asking. They kept saying, oh, we want to see you guys live. We wanted to know that they would do it, and we were just really unsure. My podcast has been independent, so we have been doing this ourselves. There's no big backing. There's no big push. And so I know that it takes a lot of work. I had to make sure that we were going to not only be able to get people in those seats, but that we could deliver a really good show. I didn't want to halfway do it. So I would just say, look at your numbers, think about the size of the venue that you want, what makes sense for you, and look at the numbers of the listeners that you have in whatever city you choose to do a live show, and it's going to be 10% of that. Hopefully more, but 10% is a good amount.
Thank you. And
you're welcome.
One more question. Sorry. So also, what do you think is like a good time frame for an actual live show from start to finish?
Like the duration of the show?
Duration of the show, correct. Yeah.
I would say no more than an hour and a half, but it depends on what elements you have. So we would have doors open. We have the doors open like an hour ahead. That way people can show up, they can get in their seats, they can get their drinks, they can buy stuff, they can mix and mingle, do whatever they want to do. We have the DJ there the moment the doors open. Now when the show time starts, we give our opener about 10 minutes. We don't really try to be on on the stage ourselves more than an hour. We have also incorporated other entertainers. So the last couple of tours that we did, we hired a burlesque company, and they sent us different entertainers for each show. So we got to have a moment to stop yapping, have a bathroom break in the middle of the show, and we have the entertainer come on for about 5 to 7 minutes. So we do about 20 to 30, have that entertainer in the middle, and then another 20 to 30, and then we wrap. We give ourselves about another 15 minutes so that they can clear out the venue, and then we can get ready for the meet and greet and take pictures. So about an hour, no more than an hour and a half, I would say.
Hey,
Hey.
great presentation.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts on, because you had some pretty big, heavy cities that were on your tour. What are your thoughts about doing something locally or regionally before you bust out?
Like if you're in a smaller city.
Yeah, well, if you're in a smaller city, or like you want to test the waters, you want to test the waters out. I do live events. I've done them before, but now I have the podcast. So what are your thoughts are like kind of blending, maybe just starting out, like I'm from San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
So a lot of different counties around. What are your thoughts about doing kind of regional live events and then branching out to bigger cities?
I think that's a good idea. I didn't do that myself. I have heard of other people doing it. What I would say is scale down the big live show, the long running live show. Maybe have it be like really interactive so that you can talk to those people, you're mixing and mingling with them, you get them to like you more, and maybe you can attract other people who might not even be your podcast audience. If I were to do it with my show CockTales, I might do a happy hour type of thing, maybe a dating game type of show, or something like that. People always say speed dating, but like guys don't really show up to that, so I wouldn't do that. But think of something that is an event where people can move and mingle, and you can get people out and just kind of see what you can pull. You're welcome.
Hello, sister.
Hey.
Great presentation. I had a quick
Thanks.
question, and I don't know if you covered it, but in terms of doing a live show, do you work with a booking agent, manager, agency, anything of that nature that goes out and finds the cities and the target demos for you, or are you booking, you and your co-host booking everything yourselves?
When we did our first 4 shows in 2019, we did it ourselves. I did 2 shows in Atlanta, and then we did a show in Houston and a show here in Dallas, and we did it ourselves. After that, somebody reached out to us because I was also wondering, like, how do I even find anybody? I don't really know. I have someone I can refer you to that's been great that I've worked with for years now, but he reached out to us, and he already had a background in doing this sort of thing. So then he was finding the venues. We would send him our numbers so that he knows the markets. We sent them the numbers of the live shows that we had before, and he handled the negotiations and would bring it back to us. We would tell him yay or nay and go about it that way. I think once you have a strong audience and you can get that booking agent, do it. If anybody would like his info, I would be more than happy to share it afterwards. But it might be hard if you've never done a live show. So you might want to try 1 or 2 on your own, and then you have that concept, the proof of concept, and then work with an agent because they're also going to take 10%.
Appreciate you for taking the question. I guess one thing I have to ask you, what was that harsh lesson after that first show you guys ever
What was the harsh lesson?
that you experienced after that first show?
Know your worth, because I don't know why I sold a ticket for $25 for 300 people for real. I keep saying it because I'm upset at myself, but I just wasn't sure. I think after that first show, I would also say ask for more help. I had help, but have more help. I don't think that I had enough. So that was something that I wish I would have considered. And the cleanup crew, because that venue, we booked it ourselves. So there was no staff included and nobody wanted to clean up afterwards. It's kind of a sour spot for me, but I was in the venue myself picking up trash with my sister and my friend right here. So yeah, we were cleaning it up. So think about all of those little things. Do you have a cleanup crew? You need to hire them.
Hey, what's good, Kiara?
Hey.
Great presentation. Good seeing you
Thanks.
again. My question is, how did you go about marketing your live show? Did you guys do any paid ads?
We didn't do any paid ads.
No paid?
We mainly promoted it within the podcast and then social media. We also went as guests on other shows, especially if we knew that there was a show that had a strong audience in whatever cities we were going to. We didn't do the paid ads. But it would be great if you need to. I don't think that you should shy away from it. If the tickets aren't moving, do the paid ads, because sometimes people don't know. People skip episodes. They skip around the episode, and they might not have realized it. I know I'm not always on social media either. So do the paid ads, do the Google ads and social media, and don't sleep on Facebook. Any other questions? All right, you guys. Well, thank y'all so much. My Instagram name is Kiki Said So. It's KIKISAIDSO. If you need my contact information, come see me over here and scan my badge. And I would be more than willing to help each and every one of you if you are seriously considering doing a live show and you need a bit more help than what I could do in this 30 minutes. I just want to see all of us podcasters be able to be great, make some money, and have fun with what we're doing, because I know that you all are passionate about it and you want to share that with others. So thank you guys.